What's up everyone, welcome to your 14th After Effects tutorial. In this tutorial I'm going to be going over a couple rotation things, and we're going to be using a tool called the Wiggler in this tutorial. So let's just go ahead and get started. The first thing that I want to show you guys is how we used to make things rotate along a path before and how they do it by default. So let's go ahead and get your object. It doesn't matter what it is, and get your position effect out, and go ahead and make three. Well, actually you don't have to make anything, I'll just show you how it's done. Just make three keyframes, and I'll show you that by default After Effects has this object kind of the same level left and right when it moves along a path. But sometimes you don't want to do this, and you want the object to kind of follow the path like it's kind of going like a roller coaster. And here's how you do that. Anytime you want your object to follow one or more keyframes, and this is called auto orientation, go ahead and select the keyframes you want, and again, if you click the property, it selects all the keyframes. Next thing from there, you want to go to Layer, up here, Transform, Auto Orient, and you want to put Orient along path. Go ahead and click OK. And as you can see, when you do that, your object is oriented along the path which it aligns with, or whatever it's called. So that is how you get an object to go along the path. So if you're animating something like a roller coaster or something like that, it's a lot easier. And make sure when you're done with that, go to Layer, where is it, Transform, Auto Orient, and click Off, or else it's gonna stick with you and it's gonna be annoying when you're trying to orient other stuff. Another thing that I want to show you guys how to do is something called the Wiggler, and what this does is it pretty much just wiggles your objects. Pretty simple. So to open this, you need to go to Window and make sure your what's it called, panel called the Wiggler is open. Make sure there's a checkbox next to it. Mine's already open right here, so I don't have to worry about anything. What the Wiggler does is adds a bunch of random keyframes in the middle of whatever keyframes you selected, so that it gives it a wiggle effect. And you can do this to any property, not only position, but position is most easy to see. So go ahead and select 2 or more keyframes, since you can't wiggle only one keyframe. I'm gonna go ahead, actually I'm gonna delete this middle one. And right now you see Charlie Chupacabra is just going from left and right. I'm gonna want to add a bunch of random keyframes to make them shake all over like a crackhead or something. So go ahead and select your keyframes. Oops, I accidentally deleted one. So select all your keyframes and go over to the Wiggler, and here is what you need to select. You want to pick Apply to Spatial Path. Now spatial and temporal are actually two different things. Spatial means in space and temporal means in time. And since position is of course space, temporal would be something like opacity, where it isn't like moving anywhere, it's just doing something over time, getting brighter or getting dimmer. So that's what temporal would mean. But for position, you always want spatial. Noise type, this doesn't really matter in this case. It's just when you look at your chart, the lines are either going to be jagged or smooth. It's not really important, don't worry about that. And dimensions, again, since this is spatial, these are the axes, x-axis, y-axis. Do you want to do all the same? Most of the time you want to click all independently, since you want all your keyframes to act independently. The frequency is how often it's going to insert keyframes, and the magnitude is how severe, I guess you could say, the differences is going to be. So let's just go ahead and say we want about 11 keyframes per second, and we want it pretty harsh, just so I can show you guys. So now when I hit Apply, you see that the Wiggler added all of these random keyframes in our animation. Now if we see Charlie and we play his animation, he's gonna wiggle all over the place. Again, If we want to only add a couple and not make it, this would probably be better. And this is with a frequency of 4 per second and a magnitude of 18. As you can see, Charlie only wiggles a little bit. So that's how you can get objects to wiggle in and out. And a lot of people don't know this, but even if they've been working with After Effects for a while, but you can actually wiggle other stuff besides position. Now I know whenever you think of wiggle in your head, you think of like an object wiggling, but you can actually wiggle stuff like opacity and things like that too. For instance, let me go ahead and get rid of our other wiggle keyframes on position. If you go to opacity, just make 2 quick keyframes, and let's put them at 50% each. Put this at 50 and put that one at 50. You can actually select both of these and wiggle these just like you would anything else. And what this does is it doesn't really make your object wiggle like up and down. When you wiggle opacity, it's going to make it flicker on and off like a light bulb burning out or something. So let's go to home, apply it, and as you can see, it added a bunch of wiggle keyframes to our thing. Now press space, and I don't know if you can see it on YouTube, but if you do this, you can see that Charlie's he's like flickering on and off. So let me play it one more time for you. And if it isn't good and you can't see it, I'll prove it to you right here. You can always look on the graph right here and see your wiggles in a graphic kind of way. So this is the opacity right here. As you can see, it's kind of shooting up and down all over the place. So anytime that you want to randomize it even more, you can go to your graph right here and you can manually adjust it. But most of the time you just want to stick with the basics, because this wiggler gives you enough control where you can customize it how you want it. So again, that is how you use the wiggler in auto orientation to orient objects along a path. And don't forget that you can wiggle stuff besides position. Any of your attributes you can wiggle. So keep that in mind and play around with the wiggler a little bit and learn how to use it. So I hope you enjoyed watching, and I'll see you next time.